everyone. This is Dr. Rizo back again, and I'm here with my boy Hermy.
Let's go.
What's cracking, homie? How
Hey,
you feeling?
I'm feeling. It's my first one. Little nervous, but
I can see your shoulders, bro.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God, relax. Oh my God,
Calm down.
relax.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah.
It's something that for a long time, I feel like it's something that I've been wanting to do, but at the same time, I haven't done it because just nerves or I didn't know who to do it with or whatnot. So,
And bro, you don't want to do it with just anybody, bro.
yeah,
You want to do it with somebody like me, your homie,
I appreciate that. Hey,
the dog.
we-
You know what I
hey,
mean?
I
Hey, you know what I
appreciate
mean? The
that, yeah.
dog. So Hermy and I go way back. About maybe so when he started cutting my hair about what?
I mean, I want to say
You're
I was 19.
You're 19?
Going about 20 years old when
how old are you now?
I'm 34.
Dang!
Yeah, so
14, 15 years ago.
over a decade, that's for sure.
So I remember Herm before he was a dad, before he was a husband, before all that. Oh, I forgot one thing, bro.
Vice versa too, though.
Yeah.
It goes both
You
ways.
knew me.
Yeah.
Oh, bro. He's seen me through many journeys. I want to do a quick shout out to Covenant Coffee. I got
Let's
all
go.
lifted, lost. I got all lost and excited. Covenant Coffee, dude. This is the reason why I like them. I wanted to make sure I do a shout out to them. Their whole job and their whole creation is to help the foster kids that got aged out. So that are 17, 18, giving them jobs and helping them out with all that. And they're off of Chester. And then they also have like a nice little setup. Remember the old Cindy's over there off of Mount Vernon? Or no, off of Oswald and Columbus?
Yep.
Yeah, they have that new restaurant. They have some stuff in there too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
that's
shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to you guys.
All right, let's bring it back, man.
Let's go.
Could you adjust your mic cable? Could you plug in your cable a little more? The cable?
Yeah. This part?
Yeah, just push it up into you.
How's that working out?
Bit of a buzz.
Let's see. A little technical. How's that now? Yeah. How's that sound? All right, we back.
We're back.
Heck yeah. Hey, bro, we got three people watching. I'm excited about that.
Let's go.
Heck yeah. So Herm, we knew each other before we were the men that we wanted to be. Before he was a husband, before he was a father.
Yeah.
I remember Herm when he was even in somebody else's shop.
Yeah. Tony's barbershop.
Yeah. I remember we used to go up in the back room and flip dollars.
Oh man, so many things went down in that barbershop, but man, it made us who we are today.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Herm has been on a wonderful journey, and I think, he's just not a typical guy. And he just doesn't have a typical career. He's made so much more with what he's had. And Herm, talk to us a little bit about your journey as an owner, as a businessman.
Well, I just felt like growing up as a kid, I always surrounded myself with an older crowd.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of the friends that I used to hang out with, everyone was pretty ambitious and just, wanted to provide. And, as a young kid, I was always attracted to that. I always liked fashion,
the grind,
like the grind, the money,
yeah,
just all that would attract me. And I was just like, man, as a kid, growing up, Hispanic parents, straight from Michoacan, Mexico.
So you're first generation,
generation, Spanish speaking.
That was your first language?
First language.
Dang, that's a journey in itself.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like all of that had a big impact on, just molding me who I ended up becoming now, as a father.
So you started off as just a barber.
I did.
Right? As a young buck in somebody else's joint.
School, honestly, my junior year, I was just kind of like a mess.
Yeah.
So I felt like, I needed to find something. And, one day I was cutting my own hair at the house, jacked myself up, but I always felt like it was something that was cool to do, because whenever I would personally go to the barbershop, just the atmosphere and the barbers, the way they would just.
It is a cool
like,
vibe.
the vibe, yes, for sure. The vibe was just like, dang, I could see myself doing this in the future. And eventually, you know, my school counselor was actually the one that reached out to me because I was cutting his hair, and he's like, hey,
that's funny, dude.
Yeah. He would see me at school, you know, with the haircut every other day. It was a jacked up haircut too, but it was just funny because like that haircut, they would see that the haircut was just always fresh, you know, it was always cool. And then finally this guy like, who cuts your hair? You know, you always have a haircut. And I was like, myself. They're like, what? So to make a long story short, he became a customer of mine.
I didn't know that, bro.
Yeah,
I didn't know that's how you got started.
Yeah, I was cutting his hair, and it turned into like every other week he would come to my house. And you know, my mom at the time, even though my grades weren't at its best, but she would just be like, man, he's doing good. Like he actually has a school teacher coming to the house and cutting his hair or whatnot. And you know, just over time he looked out for me, and he was just like always on my grades and making sure that I was able to have my GPA enough to I can go to barber college because they had the ROC program.
Yeah.
And I was finally at the end, I got accepted.
Wow.
Junior ending of junior year, I got accepted, went to barber college. So my senior year, I was pretty much a licensed barber. I became a barber.
Wow.
Got my license, started working at a barber shop. And yeah, I would say maybe like 2 years after being licensed, that's when I met you.
Dang, that's the launching point, bro. I didn't know it happened like that. What was the guy's name?
What's his name? Mr. Ramirez.
Damn,
Mr. Ramirez.
Bro, he doesn't know what he did.
Yeah, he set a big impact on me.
Have you seen him in a while?
You know what? It's funny because he actually used to come to my barbershop and bring his I think it was his nephew to get a haircut because he ended up just buzzing his head.
Yeah.
Started balding over time, and he kind of just said, you know what, that's enough. But he was a big supporter. You know, he would come and bring his nephew to come get a haircut, and that's how we would keep in touch. But now, you know, over time, we probably just he got busy. He has his own things. I haven't touched bases with him, but it's been a while now.
Bro, he set you on pace, dog.
Yeah, he did.
Now you went from and then you started the launching point. We met. And then you decided to take another leap to be an actual business owner.
Yes. You know, it just got to that point where, like I said, you know, the people that I...
And how old were you when you did that, bro?
So it's kind of crazy because like in the middle of, I was 20 years old. I had my girlfriend, which is my wife now. And it got to a point where I was just getting real busy all the time. And, you know, just like I said, hanging around that crowd and friends, and it got to a point where they would kind of tell me like, hey, why don't you just open up your own business? Like it was always like, you should open up your own shop, you know, open something up that's yours. And that's kind of what just kept drilling in my head until finally I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start looking. Found a location, and as soon as I want to say like a month or two after I signed the lease at the building where I'm at today, my wife, now girlfriend at the time, gave me the news that she was pregnant. 20 years old. I just signed a 5-year lease for a barbershop.
Oh man.
Living at my parents at the time. They didn't know anything of what was going on. They knew I had the barbershop signed. I know they knew that I was doing that road, you know, but they didn't know that I had my girlfriend at the time pregnant.
Man.
So many emotions and just deep thought every night, you know, just thinking to myself, like,
bro,
what am I gonna do, you know? And yeah, it's crazy.
And that was at 20, and that just skyrocketed off.
Yeah,
once you had your own shop, man, you know, you to me, you know, people know you around town.
Yeah,
you're one of the most popular barbers around town, bro. Isn't that wild?
You know, the thing is that I felt like back in the day, because social media wasn't like a big platform at the time, it was always word of mouth. And I felt like my vision, in order for me to really grow and be somebody, I was always like going after people that were kind of known. So if I was their barber and they seen their haircut, they would be like, who cuts your hair? You know, you're a popular guy. So I feel like that would attract more clients towards me, because they'll be like,
you went after certain clientele. You weren't just randomly cutting hair. You were intentional about who you got.
Exactly. I always wanted to have somebody in my chair that I was able to, share vision, give advice,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
someone like yourself as well, someone that's able to, we both talk and we share ideas, we share goals,
Yeah.
and
We talk about the Lord.
we do.
We talk
Yes.
about
We're
Creator. We get
believers in
deep in that
God.
chair, bro.
Yes.
You see me in a divorce in that chair. Remember you caught me smoking a cigarette out there that what was that 2013 or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh, that was some hard times, bro.
But we made it through, man. I feel like sometimes I feel like life is, you have to go through those obstacles in order to mold you, and you learn from those things. And eventually you kind of, the bad habits end up just becoming stuff that you leave behind, because now you're onto a new road, a new, something for your family now.
Well, you had a grind to get where you're at. You
Yes.
had to do things that people were not willing to do.
Right.
Because Herm even has his own mobile van system. I mean, and this ain't no typical, mobile van type haircut where you think some rinkadink. It's some Gucci van pulling up and you feel like you a VIP boss.
Yeah.
When you in that sucker. I mean, when I'm getting my haircut like that, it's just like, you feel like you're in some type of state of the art, like I'm a king. And he's been hustling on that.
It's the experience, that's something that I always wanted to implement into myself, was just like, when people come to me and they get haircuts by me, I don't just want them to feel like I'm just a regular barber. I want them to come and actually like know who I am, know the vision. Like we share, like more of a close relationship. And I feel like the more you open up and you actually how do you say, like, you just talk to more of your people, you're able to
build relationships.
Exactly. You build relationships, and from there your mind just starts growing in many ways, and more ideas come up.
It's like when you connect minds with someone else, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So what were those things that you had to do? Because this is another thing, because this is where we're going to get at. Long story short, we're going to get at even the most important part of Herm is, how did he build this business? How did he build this? I mean, I'm going to call it an empire. How did he do all this and yet be a good husband and a good father? So before we get there, what are the skills that you had to do in order to be a successful businessman and to be able to provide for the family the way you do?
I feel like a lot of the times, a lot of that comes with prioritizing just everything. One of the main things is not overloading yourself, doing things that you're actually able to handle, because I feel like whenever you try to overload yourself, you become a mess, and then you probably just come home and you're not even in the mood.
So you stuck with quality.
Exactly.
And you did only the things you can be consistent doing.
Exactly. I feel like a lot of those things take it just takes a big role in your life, because your family, your kids, they see that. They see your mood when you come home, after a long day. How it is when you have so much going on.
Yeah, dude.
And trying to disconnect from work to go be a family, a dad, a husband, and still have enough time to even just conversate with my wife about how was her day. Like, you have to really learn how to disconnect from work, and pretty much tell yourself, like, now I just went from being a businessman to dad mode, husband mode. But a lot of that, I feel like it comes from just prioritizing your life.
You kept what it was meaningful.
Exactly.
Really at the forefront of your head, huh?
Yes. And I believe in God. I believe in prayer. I feel like a lot of things that you do in life, you have to really pray about it and really want something. When you really put your mind and your dedication into something, I feel like that will come into place at its timing. You can't rush anything. The minute you start rushing yourself, rushing life, or just rushing any goal that you want, you start going into a rocky mountain. You know what I mean? It just goes all over the place.
Do you feel like you had to put it in God's hands?
100%.
Wow.
And believe it or not, I think one of the biggest things is that my wife's, she was always had my back. She's always been there for me, no matter what. Like, you know, we've gone to church, we take our kids to church, and I feel like that's always been something that's really helped me big time. You know, I feel like
it's like those are the core things that we care about.
Yes.
And when we're doing those, it feels like we're centered.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we all have our own issues, you know, we all have our own
sins,
problems, our own little stuff like that. But, you know, whenever you just, you know, at the end of the day, you tell yourself, you know, everything's going to be okay. You're good. Just believe in God, leave it in God's hands. Timing will take its place at its own time.
Just patience after that. Huh?
Exactly.
It's just working through the process after that.
Yes.
Now, because man, I see your schedule. You're so busy, and just because, dude, you do these creative. You did this big old event. What was it? The barber?
Clipper Mania barber battle.
Dude, that thing was so cool, man. How did you balance your time and your family?
It's hard.
Was there any big decisions you had to make in the last few years in order to get that right?
To be honest with you, I feel like the biggest thing is communication.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, at one point, of course, you got to make a big decision, and obviously, you know, your wife obviously has to know, or your partner, even if you're a single man. I feel like, you know, everything has to, you know, once you set yourself a goal, or you set yourself like, I'm gonna do this, you have to know that that's what you got to stick to, and actually just prioritizing, just making sure that everything's aligned properly, because, you know, you don't want to, like I said, you don't want to ever overload yourself, and eventually it becomes something that you hate.
Yeah.
You know, because you're just trying to do too much.
Yeah.
So
when you set a goal, you actually make a plan.
Exactly. And when I did Clipper Mania, I brought in a business partner with me on that one. And, you know, I shared my idea, I shared my goals, and he did as well, you know. And I told myself, because he's just as busy as I am, so I was like, you know what, I feel like, you know, if we both of two people, powerful people in this town that are barbers, that are well known, and you know, we want something to be able to bring the community together.
It's so risky too.
It is.
It's so risky, bro.
You know,
are people going to show up?
the thing is that when it comes down to throwing events, you know, you always you kind of come across two different crowds. You know, you got to have haters. You're gonna have haters. Bro. Haters are always gonna, you know, try to, I don't know, make it.
They're gonna try to hate.
Yeah, exactly.
Haters just gonna try to hate, bro.
And you can't let those things pretty much mess with you. You have to just keep pushing forward.
It's
you
like,
know,
you know what haters do? They try to throw out those negative energy.
Yes.
To throw you off track.
Exactly.
Whatever they're doing sucks.
Yeah. No, honestly, it's something that you just gotta block that out. You know what I mean? Not let that come in or affect you in any type of way, you know, because, you know, you don't want to ever feel like you can't do something because of whoever's saying this, whoever's saying that. You just gotta, you know, just do you, be you know. Same thing like how we're doing this podcast, you know, just be myself, be
real, baby.
Be real. That's it.
Don't need to be fire. You gotta be real.
Exactly. So,
and then when you're doing that balance, you know, you have your prioritizing. Do you have like a schedule with your communication?
So honestly, as far as like with work wise, or you mean like at home?
Do you schedule like your time with your wife or your time with your kids, or how does that work?
So my work week is basically Monday through Saturday. Monday, I pretty much dedicate myself to doing my personal stuff. Like if I have to run errands or if I have to do mobile haircuts, Tuesday through Friday are kind of going to be like my days that I'm mainly at the barbershop. Evenings, I go do my mobile, because a lot of the mobile clients, you know, that's when they're getting off of work, when, you know, they need that, they want their convenience, you know what I mean? So that's where I come into place. Saturday, you know, Saturdays have always been like my barber day, you know, something that my wife eventually adapted to. You know, it sucks because there's even days like, say if I get sick or something and I'm off on a Friday or Saturday, like my day is like just weird, you know, just I got accustomed to, you know, just those days are my work days. But if I'm home, it just feels weird. But so pretty much my family is known that if they want the full energy out of me, we have to at least a week ahead plan out like, hey, this weekend we're going out of town. You know, we're going to be gone for a day or two. And you know, like that ahead of time, I'm able to, either reschedule my clients, or the days that I have my regulars, I'm able to move them, and or just let them know ahead of time, so like that doesn't affect our schedule with them. And then my wife, my kids, they're already with envision, like, all right, during the week, my dad's going to work and he's going to be working probably all day long. But we know that at the end of the week, our reward is going to be that we're going to be as a family together, either Sunday, Saturday, or even, we do Sunday, Monday,
Yeah.
So
I love that, bro. You plan it.
Yeah.
You got to schedule it. It don't happen natural. Because if you don't schedule, it won't happen, huh?
It won't happen, just because so much is going on. And at the end of the day, if the wife doesn't know what's going on, then she's going to be all over the place too. And sometimes, after a long week, in our minds, we expect them to already kind of know because they know us so well. It's like, but those expectations are not there.
Why didn't you read my mind?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are the things that, like, you need to avoid trying doing that. So that's why you got to plan ahead and set those days up, just so they can plan, with the family or with the kids.
Man.
Exactly.
That's vital. Now let's transition, man. I love seeing that part of the business side of you, how you got in there, even how you broached that as a husband. Well, let's transition to being a father.
Yeah,
bro, that's a hard gig right there.
It is. It's a lot of time.
What would you say is one of the best parts of being a dad for you?
Honestly, I think the best time of myself is probably when I'm like full turn off my phone, I'm out of way, because I feel like for a long time I've always had an issue. Well, actually, I can't say that I'm not anymore, because sometimes it does become an issue. Like, my wife will have to tell me, like, babe, get off your phone, it's family time. We're at, if we're at dinner, at lunch, or we go eat somewhere. I feel like those are the little things that
it's a habit though that we need for work.
Yeah. So all those things, I feel like, just it molds you into just finally becoming, prioritizing all that, the timing with the family.
So your favorite time is when the phone's off.
Yes.
You're chilling with your kids. You don't even need to be at a beach or anything, right?
You know what? For us, I feel like as a family, we love eating. We love eating out. So for most importantly, we love food. So I feel like those are our times where it's like, where do you guys want to go eat at? After a long day, we need some good food.
Yeah, comfort food.
Exactly. I mean, the best days are obviously, when you're on vacation, when you're at the beach or whatnot. But I feel like those days don't come as often, just because our schedules are going up. But
you wouldn't enjoy them if they happen more often either.
So I feel like the most moments, I feel like the best times is probably like either if my wife cooks at home and we're all together, and phones are off, and or when my kids are off of school, just listening to them. I feel like the biggest things is when the kids are sharing their days at school, how their days went and all that.
What's the hardest part about being a father for you?
Oh man, I think the hardest part is just gonna be just man, it's kind of hard just saying, because it's not that it's hard, but I feel like eventually you kind of not have to think about yourself anymore. We become that it's not about us anymore. So I feel like as a father, that's kind of hard. Not that it's hard, but you learn to adapt that.
You got to shift your mindset.
Yes. Or I feel like because the fact that me and my wife are so hard and overprotective of our kids, I feel like as a father, if anything's happened when our kids are sick, or things like that, or something happened at school, I feel like those things become hard, because me and my wife, since we're hard on our kids, it becomes stressful, or just things like that. But for the most part, just little things like that.
So the hard part is the day-to-day stressors, huh?
Yes,
it really is. Because those day-to-day stressors hit us when we're tired.
Yes.
Right.
Long
you don't
days.
Get good news fresh at 7
a.m.
You get it at 5 p.m. after you've cut tons of people's hair. Maybe you had like a terrible customer like Andrew Morales or Patty Mojica, Joseph Rizo.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Yeah, shout out to them, my boys, day ones.
That's when it comes. How do you manage those difficult moments? How do you manage those difficult day-to-day moments and become better at that?
Yeah.
It's not just one time. Got it.
Yeah. No, honestly, like I said, having a partner that can really back you up, I feel like those are the things that will really help out in many, many ways. And,
Kind of goes back to investing in that partner, huh?
exactly. Yeah, it does make a big difference when you have a partner that's able to, you can actually rely on.
Dude, wives do so much,
A
bro.
lot. Yeah, yeah. Shout out to my wife. Like, she really holds me
Shout out
down.
to his wife. And mine
Daisy,
too.
if you're watching, shout out to you. But yeah, I feel like all those day-to-day battles, just with work, overwhelming thing, just the daily overwhelming long days coming home. I feel like all those battles at the end of the day, you learn every day, you adapt to new things. Every day's a new day,
Yeah.
so we learn to just,
The beautiful thing right
keep
there.
telling ourselves that everything's gonna be okay,
Yeah.
regardless of what the next day. It's a new day. We're
Well,
good.
that's what the Lord teaches us.
Yeah.
That's the instruction.
If I sit here, overstress myself over the little things that eventually don't really matter, it's like I'm stressing over nothing. And, we move on from that. And, within a couple of days, we get over it. And, we're back to square one.
I had an epiphany about 5 years back, maybe longer than that. It was one of these moments I was like, man, I wanted to land in my, it was just those difficult moments, right?
Yeah.
And it's day-to-day difficult stuff. We're just a tug of war. And I had an epiphany. This old dude one time told me, he's like, 5 years from now, you won't remember that.
Yeah.
Is that worth it?
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, that's a great thought right there.
Yeah.
Now let's shift. What's one of the most meaningful, what are some of the meaningful lessons that you want to teach your children as a father?
Oh man, there's so many different things, because we try to teach our kids that nothing comes easy. You got to really work hard towards something that you want in life.
Put those reps in, baby.
Put in those reps. I feel like creating, my son is boxing now, and one of the biggest things that they teach in the beginning is setting up your foundation.
Yeah.
You always got to have a foundation. You can't build a house without a foundation. So I feel like one of the number one biggest things that I always teach my kids, and which they really work towards that every day, is just praying to God, and read your Bible, read the word. When you're going through any difficult times, just kind of pray about it. Leave it in his hands. And I feel like a lot of those things I really try to teach my kids, that because we're not there all the time. I mean, physically, mentally, we're there at nighttime, when they come home, whatnot. But when they're at school and they come across any bad things or whatnot, they have to make a decision, or just growing up as a kid, so many things go through your mind that you're just curious. As a kid, you're curious. So I feel like I just want them to know that regardless of what, believe in God and pray about it, and things will come into place.
Things do fall in place.
Yeah.
When you put that at the center. And I think that is to me, that's one of the main things I want to teach is, how to invest in your spirit.
Right.
I love that. All right. We only got 2 more minutes.
Ooh.
That was quick, huh?
Yeah, it was super quick.
I
Oh,
told
man.
you, bro.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. What's one more thing we can leave our audience about, parenting? What's one important thing that you can leave for them?
Well, I mean, as a parent, I feel like everything that you do, it's always a new, like, you learn as you're going. You can't go based off anybody else's relationships. You can't go based off of anybody else. You have to really just base things off of your gut sometimes. They're making the right moves and going the right way. It's always going to make a big difference. So as an audience, to be the best father you could be is honestly just be a better version of yourself every day.
Amen.
Always tell yourself,
Amen.
you're a good person. Positivity.
Yeah.
Always feed your
Be
mind.
hopeful.
Exactly. A negative mind will always be negative.
Yeah.
A positive mind will always have a good energy.
Yeah.
I feel like all of that takes effect in our daily lives.
A positive mind can own anything.
Exactly. Yes.
Fantastic, bro. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Like, subscribe, do all the above. Peace with some chicken grease.
Appreciate you.